Today we're going to talk about the hue, saturation, and value nodes and how you can use them. We're going to start off with our default setup for the nodes screen layout, but we're going to be working with images, so I can delete my render layer and instead add my input image node. And for the first topic, we're going to talk about isolating certain colors from an image. And to do that, we are going to use the HSV node. And let's go ahead and load up from your text directory under the images your Space Spiral Galaxy image. This is a very high resolution image. I believe it's taken from NASA by the Hubble telescope. What we want to do is we want to split this image up into its HS and V color channels. So come down to the converter to separate HSVA. Since the image input node was selected, it's connected. And we know we're going to eventually end up recombining these, so we can go ahead right away and, just as a good habit, go ahead and automatically add the combine node back in again. Now, in order to work on let's say we wanted to do a statistical search for yellow stars. We were just looking at this galaxy and we wanted to see where the yellow stars are. Well, the HS and V color channels are a way of looking at an image in terms of hue and saturation and value, where hue is the actual color and the saturation and values refer to how much of that color is in the image. So every pixel is assigned a specific hue number. On the DVD, in your image reference directory under your textures, I've given you the HSV value chart. This is from the Wikipedia, it's part of the public domain. Hues are a range of colors from reds through greens through blues into your purples and ultraviolets. I guess it's kind of like Roy G. Biv right here. And according to their color frequency, actually, so I guess it has some scientific basis, if you will. And this thinks of colors as a circle. It can be arranged as around a circle where you go from 0 degrees through 360 degrees. And so color 0, which is a deep red, is the same as color 360. In Blender, these values are normalized to a scale of 0 to 1. So this aquamarine color right here in the middle inside of Blender would be a 0.5 hue. And yellow colors, because we're going to be doing our search for yellow stars, is 60 here. 60 over 360 is 0.166. No matter what saturation and value, if it's yellow, if it's a bright yellow or a dark yellow, it doesn't really matter. It's going to be hue 60. So if we're doing this little search for yellow stars, we want to isolate out only from this image only the hues that are a value of 60. And in order to do that, we need what's called a filter. In other words, we want to take these hue values and filter out only what we want. So if we are looking specifically for colors in the range of, let's say, from 0.15 to 0.17, we're going to grab the yellow colors from that image, because that's what the yellow hue is. And we can use the RGB color curve for that purpose. So if we look at the hues, we can see here that the image, when looked at from a hue perspective, is a full range of colors, pretty much, from everything from zeros all the way through medium gray, which would be in the middle. Medium gray is this aqua colors, and then white is up into your purple colors. This is how the different hues are represented. So now we can come back here and say, okay, color curve, this is from 0 to 1, so 0.16 is right around in here. So if I go ahead and add some control points and filter out and only allow colors at this range to pass through, I'm going to go ahead and duplicate, and you can see the house key up here, hotkey. Alright, so now when I look at this, now I am only allowing certain colors to come through. So I am starting to limit what colors can pass through this color curve. And right around here is the yellow colors, and so here are the yellow stars. If I wanted to get really specific, I can invoke what's called clipping in the color curve. And let's say I wanted to look at colors between 0.15 and 0.17. Okay? Now my band here shrinks down to, as you can see, very little, a very narrow band of colors. And so now, when I come in, my points are only allowed to be within that band. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and switch this to a vector handle here and do some housekeeping. So now this RGB curve puts out a 1, which is white, for only the colors that are between 0.15 and 0.17, which is yellow. So here we've taken this image and we've isolated out only the yellow colors, and those are represented as white. And now we actually have a mask that we can use. And actually, if you kind of look at it, and knowing that this is actually a sphere that we were taking a picture of, you can sort of assume that the yellow stars, you'll get a higher density of white dots wherever there's a higher density of yellow stars, and you can kind of see those yellow stars generally are denser around the perimeter of a sphere, and so they appear denser here. Of course there's going to be some because that's on the far end, but you're going to see more dots where they are forming the outline of a sphere, which kind of indicates, if you assume that all of the stars are moving outward from the center, you're kind of looking at a ball of yellow stars, which indicates that all stars that are yellow are generally of the same age. And so then that would lead you to the conclusion that maybe stars change color with age. And so that's an example of using the HSV values to isolate out a specific color and do some color analysis. And now we have a mask. You can use this mask to change the color of the original image, to recolor it. It's called false coloring. If we now use this as the factor input into a mix node, we can now change, for example, all of the yellow stars to red or something like that. If we come to the color mix node and use our image as a mask, now wherever the top image is not yellow, it will be used, and wherever the original image was yellow, now this bottom socket will be used. So if we can change this to a red color, but now all of the yellow stars have turned red. And this is the way you can recolor an image using the nodes.